If you're someone who owns a bookshelf, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume my next guest's name is somewhere on that shelf. A bold claim, yes, I know, but when that name is John Grisham, I'm feeling pretty confident. Even if you have not read his books, chances are you've seen a movie based on them. Time to Kill, The Pelican Brief, The Firm, The Client, just a few that went on to become big blockbusters. I could go on, but he is sitting right next to me, and I kind of want to chat with him. John Grisham, what a thrill to have you here, sir.
Delighted to be here.
Okay, so let's talk about this new book, The Reckoning. You flat out stole this idea for a book, and I'm not accusing you. You actually say it at the end of the book.
I steal most of my ideas.
Okay.
That's what writers do. We gather stories. We borrow stories. We are always trolling for a story. Newspapers, magazines, whatever we hear, we're always stealing stories, yeah.
And where did the idea for this one come from? Tell me the story of The Reckoning.
We're talking about politics. I was in the state legislature in Mississippi 30 years ago, and at the state capitol. And during a break one time, we're all sitting around drinking coffee and telling stories. And my colleagues were these seasoned veteran politicians from throughout the state. A lot of them were rural guys who were great politicians and great storytellers. And a guy told this story about a killing in a small town in Mississippi back in the 1930s that led to a hanging, and it's just a great story. And the murderer never would give a reason for killing the person he killed. And they knew each other. And he took it to his grave, and it was a fantastic story. I never wrote it down. I just remembered it. And so it's been rattling around for 30 years, and finally it was time to write it.
Well, your process is so interesting to me, and I think we've got a picture from your Instagram here because it's your life reflected back in books. Do we have that? So this is your body of work here. I
think you're missing one right there.
Yeah. I'm missing.
I don't see the partner there.
There's so much that goes into your books. When you look at this, what do you think?
When I look at that, forgive me. There's a lot of pride.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of books there that I thoroughly enjoyed writing. I feel very fortunate to have people who have bought most of those books. And I also think I'm very lucky to be able to do it now. I'm doing it today. I'm doing it tomorrow. I'm still writing.
Do you remember the moment where you thought to yourself, where you said, I'm going to be able to make a career as a writer? Because leaving the law and going into that, I mean, it's all dependent on what comes out of your head.
It was one phone call, Ben. It was one phone call. The book was The Firm. We had not sold the book rights, and I got a phone call one Sunday morning in January of 1990 from New York, and my agent said, we just sold the film rights to The Firm for more money than I could imagine, and it was totally unprepared for that, okay? We didn't know it was coming. It just happened, and it changed my world upside down immediately.
And what happens when I see that many incredible stories lined up on a bookshelf? I've got to wonder, do you ever have jockeying stories in your head and you've got to give priority to one over another?
Always.
Always, yeah.
Always. There's always 2 or 3. I start writing a book every year on January the 1st. And I give myself 6 months to write the book, and so I'm writing this. It's the writing season. So around Christmas, I have to make a decision. Yeah. Normally, it's an easy decision. I've got one idea is better than the other. But this year, I had the book I'm writing now that follows this. I had 2 or 3 really good ideas. One idea is so good, I'm thinking about next year. So I'm always...
It seems, sir, just by the way you say that, you know, I give myself till a certain time and I start on a certain date. It seems like you thrive under pressure, like you're creating deadlines for yourself.
You know, pressure was when I was a lawyer. And I was in a small town in Mississippi trying to pay the bills and worrying about the future and worrying about my law practice and worrying about a growing family and trials and deadlines and the chaos of an office. That was pressure. This is not pressure. I could have quit years ago, but I still enjoy it.
Before we end, I've got a few rapid-fire true or false questions for you. You already answered one of them, that you start every year a new book on January 1st. But true or false, you sometimes scour the New York Times obituary for book ideas.
Very true, every day.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, book ideas, but also characters. I love those obituaries.
Yeah, they are. They're well-written. They paint a good picture.
And most of the time, they tell you about the life of someone I never heard of. So, yes, true.
True or false, and this is going to hurt me if it's true, you have a meat allergy.
True.
Oh, the sadness I feel for you, sir.
It's common. It's common in our part of the world. It's a tick-borne allergy, and you can't eat beef or pork.
True or false, you have 7 Little League fields on your property.
False. I have 8.
8. And true or false, and this one might be a little bit racy for TV, but it's Canada. Your wife once laughed at the only sex scene you wrote into a book, and you haven't written one since.
False. She howled with laughter. She didn't laugh. She hit the floor laughing because I wrote a really steamy sex scene that was appropriate for that story at that time, and I thought it was really well done. And I gave it to her, and I left the room, and I could hear her laughing at my sex scenes. So, yeah, that was my last sex scene.
John Grisham.
Men can't write sex.
It means so much that I get to chat with you. Your books have meant so much to me and to so many of our viewers for so many years. So please keep writing. We'll keep reading.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
See you. Take care.
Yes.